A brother says, what are the things that a follower must recite while praying behind an imam? I'm confused, as some people say we must not recite anything behind the imam, not even the takbirs. Is this true? Well, instead of giving you a fish every day, it's best that I teach you how to fish yourself so that you don't need me anymore. And this is what every da'i and scholar does. In their lectures, it's very easy to say yes and no and move on. But rather they insist on teaching you to learn where they learned from. So instead of coming back to me and asking me the same question over and over, I'll teach you how to fish. First of all, those who say a follower must not say anything behind the imam, not even the takbir. This is ridiculous. Nowhere in the Quran or in the Sunnah that it restricts you from saying anything. Rather the opposite. In the Sunnah, it teaches us how to pray behind an imam. And the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامُ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ. Verily that the imam was made so that people would follow him. فَإِذَا كَبَّرَ فَكَبِّرُوا. So if he says Allahu Akbar, say Allahu Akbar. So brother, whoever told you that not to say the takbir is definitely a big time ignorant. He doesn't know the Sunnah. And you cannot learn from such people, even if they have long and big beards and wear big turbans on their heads. This is not a qualification to teach people. Those who teach people must be knowledgeable of the Quran and of the Sunnah, if you're a Muslim. But to be a blind follower of a madhab or a school of thought or a maslak, as they say, and ignore totally the Quran and Sunnah, Houston, we have a problem. So the Prophet said, ﷺ, and if he says, Sami' Allahu liman hamidah, you say, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. You have to reply and say, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. And the Prophet also ordered the Muslims to recite the Fatiha only behind the Imam when he prays in loud prayers. And this is why it's an issue of dispute among scholars, whether a follower must recite the Fatiha or must remain silent. So we all agree that a person praying alone, an individual, an imam must recite the Fatiha in every rak'ah. So an imam and an individual, they have to recite the Fatiha in every rak'ah because this is a pillar. The remaining would be a follower. So you're either an imam or an individual praying alone or a follower of an imam. As for the followers of imam, the scholars have disputed in regards of Fatiha. Some, and this is led by Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on his soul, and those who follow him, say that it is not permissible to recite the Fatiha in any rak'ah when you're praying behind the imam, whether it's a loud rak'ah or a silent rak'ah. So what should I do? Just stand there and watch the stars and count them? They said, yes, you don't say anything. Other scholars, led by Al-Imam Al-Bukhari, may Allah have mercy on his soul, say that you must, as a follower, recite the Fatiha regardless of the type of rak'ah, whether it's silent or loud. A third group took a middle path after collecting all the evidences and analyzing them. And this is the opinion of Imam Malik ibn Anas. May Allah have mercy on his soul, the Imam of Medina. He said that in silent rak'ah, the ma'mum, the follower, is obliged to recite the Fatiha in every single rak'ah that is silent, because he did not hear it from the Imam, so he has to recite it for himself. And if there is enough time, he should recite another surah, no problem. But when the rak'ah is loud and the imam is reciting in a loud voice, jahran, the Fatiha, then his recitation is sufficient for me. I'm not obliged to recite it. So if I skip it, no problem. What about if I want to recite it? Go ahead, recite it. Can I recite another surah afterwards? It is totally prohibited to recite in loud rak'ahs anything else other than the Fatiha for the follower. Of course, the imam is going to recite the Fatiha and afterwards a surah. For you, the follower, if you wish, you can recite the Fatiha once he's finished with his own Fatiha. But you may not at all recite anything other than the Fatiha because the Prophet ﷺ prohibited that. So I hope this answers your question.